Hey guys, Kee from KegLand, and we are just launching our new Hizo pizza ovens. So up until now we've been selling the Oonis and selling truckloads of them. We're bringing in container loads of those things, and the Ooni pizza ovens we're going to continue to sell on the website because they're a great brand and I think they're a great product as well. However, we felt that there was a need for us to also bring in these two models which fit nicely in between some of the current Ooni range. So the Hizo ones, we've got the E12, so E is in electric and 12 is in 12-inch, and also we've got the G14, so this is G for gas and then 14 because it's 14-inch. Now we wanted to do these ones firstly electric to give people an option who want to have pizzas at home but don't want to necessarily use fossil fuels to be burning. So if you've got solar panels or some renewable source of energy, it's kind of nice to be able to use electric. Also, electric has the other benefit is you don't have to turn the pizza, which I'll show you a little bit later on. Because it's a fully enclosed unit, you open the front, whack the pizza in, close the door, you get a very even heat. Now on the G14 pizza oven, we really felt that this was necessary because the current Oonis, you'll see we've got 12-inch Oonis, we've got 16-inch Oonis, and quite a big gap. So a 4-inch gap, in that range, which I think is a really nice pizza oven size, but it just didn't really exist. The 12-inch size is good because it's a very portable pizza oven, but as soon as you start cooking for a big family, you want to do a larger pizza, won't fit in there. And the 16-inch was quite big and you lose some portability. So the 14-inch, I think the 14-inch is the perfect size to get that balance between portability and still decent sized diameter pizzas that you can fit in there. Anyway, we're gonna head outside, go cook some pizzas and show you these bad boys in action. All right, so we've set these pizza ovens up in our brewing area actually. This is our home brew area, and actually what we're going to do is put one of these electric ones and bolt it to the wall, so if you are going to use our home brewing area, you come and use that one for free while you're brewing out here. Anyway, getting onto the pizza making, I've already got some dough that I've made up here. The dough's been fermenting since last night. Look, it does improve the complexity of the flavour if you ferment it for a couple of days, and if you're using a good strong flour, like the Capulto Novella, it actually is a really great strong flour and you can have those long ferments without all the glutens kind of breaking down. Normally it's imported in big bags, but we pack it down into these small little bags like this, so it's a reasonable pack size for you guys to use at home. You can use like just general supermarket flour, but I do find the just plain flour at the supermarket, you don't seem to get as good bubbles and that sort of like leopard skin kind of effect. So that's sort of one thing, sometimes worth spending a bit more money on the better flour, I guess. The other thing is we've got just with the tomato here, sometimes I just actually use this tomato here, which is basically the San Marzano DOP certified like tomatoes. Once again, you can use cheap ones, but I find this does work really well. Ollie's actually made up a little bit of a sauce, vitamized it and chucked in his secret sauce recipe here, but I think it's just got like some fennel seeds or something in there. Anyway, that's his kind of secret recipe. And the other thing is I've turned both of the ovens on. This one, the E12, that gets up to 400 degrees. And the good thing about this one, I suppose, is it's got top and bottom heat, which are independently controlled by the knobs here. And also a timer, so you can go up to 4 hours. So you can just set it up to max 4 hours, and that way if you forget about it, it'll just automatically turn itself off. Also with the oven, because you've got a door which actually closes, it's very even. So no need to turn the pizzas around. You basically just drop them in there and it'll cook the whole thing in one shot and that's it. Because it's 400 degrees, doesn't quite get as hot, but you can still do a pretty good Napolitana style pizza in that one as well. But I guess the gas one got this benefit of being portable. So obviously, where you don't have a power socket to plug this one in, the gas is really handy. Take camping, take down to the park or whatever and cook some pizzas. So that's a really great feature. Now this one as well is pretty hot. I actually am not using this even on the maximum. Sometimes I find on the maximum at 500 degrees, it's honestly, you really have to be on your toes. So that basically, when it's that hot, you put it in there, it burns pretty quick. You get a really good charring, but I find it a little bit too much. So I actually go a little bit off max, about 75% on the dial here, and then just drop the pizza in. Now, the other thing you gotta remember is gas has a lot more power. So think about gas as, this one burns something in the vicinity of about 300 grams per hour. Right, so that amount of LPG or propane gas essentially is equivalent to, in terms of energy, about 4.5 or between 4.5 and 5 kilowatts essentially worth of energy, which is getting burnt. If you're looking at electric, obviously the most I can put through a standard 10 amp power socket is 2.5 kilowatts. So, that's one of the reasons why, you don't see heaps of electric large scale or large size pizza ovens, is because the power consumption gets quite large. So it's hard to sort of keep that high heat up that you need to cook pizzas really well. But anyway, I've got the laser gun here. and the pizza stone's hitting around about, 400 degrees, which is a pretty good range, I think, just off the max there. So I've got this dough, I've kind of worked it already and stretched it out. I've avoided using a roller because I don't really want to just push all those air bubbles out either. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I sort of came up with the other day, because I'm working with a very high hydration dough, and sometimes those high hydration doughs are a little bit difficult to manage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little conveyor belt type of thing with the 12-inch pizza peel here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically put the dough on here. And this is especially good if you're not particularly fast at working with your dough, because if you sort of work your dough a bit slow and have it sit there for a while you put your toppings on, you can end up with this bit of an issue that it starts to stick to whatever you're sort of working on. So this is kind of handy for that type of situation. Or if you're shooting a video and you're taking too long because you're talking too much. So you just basically put a bit of the old tomato on there. Now I'm going to put some of this mozzarella cheese on top, a few knobs like so. This is a pretty small pizza because I'm just making myself a bit of lunch here for myself. And then some salami. Now I am going to put some basil on there at the end, but with the fresh herbs, I don't really like to chuck them in the oven because they'll just sort of burn. So I'm just going to go like that. And as you can see with this conveyor, right, I'm going to put this in the oven and gradually pull away the sheet as I pull that off. So see, I can just sort of conveyor that off like so, and that makes it really, really easy if you're not really skilled at the whole pizza throwing thing. I reckon this is not a bad way to go. So I'm going to drop this in like this. So with the gas, you've got to remember, because we're burning oxygen from the air, there's a high amount of airflow required. Otherwise, we wouldn't meet the gas requirements for carbon monoxide. So basically, you need to have airflow with gas. It's just one of the essential things when you're burning any types of hydrocarbon, I guess. Because of that, you're always going to end up with these gas ovens with one side of the oven being hotter than the other side, because you've got, essentially fresh air coming in one side and going out the opening of the oven. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. So you do have to turn the old pizza around like this. And as you can see, it's sort of blistering up nicely in there. You can see that little bit of charring already. Look, it probably hasn't even been a minute, and you can see how quickly this bad boy's cooking. And I must say, this is where having a nice little pizza turner is really handy with the gas pizza oven in particular, because sometimes, if I was trying to do it with this bad boy, it'd be pretty tricky to kind of jiggle it around, if you get what I mean. So just check the crust. Crust is looking pretty good. I'll just whip it out so you can have a quick look. Look, that's pretty good already, but look, I think I'm going to go a little bit longer. I just want to get a little bit of that charring on top, but whoop, I reckon we're getting pretty close. There we go, and I'd say she's pretty much done. What do you reckon, Ollie? So I'm going to drop this one on the bench and finish it off with just a few herbs. Got a tiny bit of basil here. Got some fresh basil from the garden. I'm going to drop that on top like that. One thing I like to do as well, look, this is not an traditional Napolitana, I suppose. I've made a little bit of a modification to the recipe here, I suppose, but it's kind of like what I like. And that's the beauty about cooking pizza yourself. You do what you like. And then I'm going to use some of my pesto, a homemade basil pesto at home. And that, my friends, is it. Have a look at that beauty. Got a little bit of charring on the base here, perfect. And nice bubbles that have puffed up there. If I left it a little bit longer, probably would have got a little bit more charring, but absolutely delicious. All right, let's give the old electric one a go. So I'm going to use a similar-ish recipe, same hydration dough here, very high hydration. And this time I'm going to whack on a little bit of prosciutto, and probably a little bit of the capsicum as well. Now I'm using fresh capsicum. Look, to be honest with you, had I had the time, I would have got the like the roasted capsicum, where it has the skin like charred off, or you can bother charring it. Look, it's kind of better, but I can't be bothered, and just don't have that at work. So yeah, so I'm going to whack on a little bit of prosciutto like this. In fact, I might put the cheese on first. Look, some people like to put cheese on first, some people second. I'm sure I'll get a few comments later. about that, but then I'm going to chuck on a bit of prosciutto strips like this. I don't like to over top my pizzas. Some people really load it up make it like a pizza with a lot, but I do find that when you do that, especially when you're cooking at these really high temperatures, you don't end up getting a really good cook all the way through the pizza. So I sort of put the ingredients on, a little bit kind of sparsely, I guess, and just go like this. I should also say these pizza ovens are not just for pizza. You can also do steaks in them. I've done, because they get up to such hot temperatures, honestly, they sear steaks just as well as a really good barbecue would. So, you can almost use it like a bit of a substitute barbecue in some instances. Mind you, you wouldn't put a steak directly on the stone, of course. You'd buy one of our, we've got these cast iron hot plates. In fact, we're designing one at the moment, which you can come and, which you can have a look at. And that one will be on the website, hopefully by the end of the year. But this is the electric one. It's up to 400 degrees Celsius, so I just checked it a few moments ago. And I'm going to use my same sort of conveyor method to deliver this one right into that back section of the oven. So I'm going to go like this. There we go. Close the door so it's got minimum time for that heat to come out. Now, because this is not quite as hot as this bad boy, the electric one probably will take, maybe about, 3 minutes or so. One nice thing is there is a little window on the front here so you can see what's going on. And if it's actually dark or you're doing pizzas at night time, you'll actually find that the lamps, the infrared lamps that you have on the top, provide just enough of a glow. You can sometimes see, you can sort of see the pizza, what's going on. You can see how cooked it is as well. So, yeah, I find with this electric one, I chuck it in there and it's done generally in about sort of 2 minutes. Something like that. And I would say with the electric one, it just needs a little bit of recovery time. So if you give it, let's say, 2 minutes or something like that between pizzas, it means that stone's back up to temperature. With the gas, it's almost instant. So look, to be honest with you, I find I can't even top a pizza within about 2 minutes anyway. So I find that sort of, pretty easy to manage around. Yeah, so it's starting to puff up now. It's looking pretty good. Alrighty, so that is roughly between 3 and 4 minutes there for this one. So as you can see, yeah, once again, some good bubbling up of the dough there, good charring on the corners. And let's have a look underneath. Oh yeah, definitely crispy under there too. So that's all good. I'm gonna keep that oven door closed to warm up for the next one. And, oh, listen to that crunch. Oh, beauty. So we've got that there. I might go a bit of pesto again. I did like the pesto last time, so I'm going to drop a little scoop of that on each quadrant here. And I've actually got a little bit of the old rocket as well from the garden. So I basically just picked this morning. I'm going to drop this out here like so. And have a look at that. Got a little bit of charring, got a nice little bit of pesto, good fluffy, big holes there where it's puffed up. And, oh my God, that's hot. Yeah, that's equally as hot as the last one as well. Well, those pizzas were absolutely delicious. And how good is cooking pizza outside? Pizza making is definitely an outdoor activity because one of those things where you make a lot of mess, you throw ingredients all over the place. But secondly, when you're cooking with these pizza ovens, they're so hot, you do a bit of charring. Every now and then some cheese falls onto the stone and starts burning. And that's smoke generated. You definitely don't want that in the house. I know there are some ovens that do go up to, 350 degrees and stuff like that, which is kind of in the range where it's starting to cook good pizza. But with an indoor cooking pizza oven, you're gonna be setting your smoke alarm off all the time if you're going one pizza after the next. So outdoor pizza ovens are, in my opinion, the way to go. Fantastic way to enjoy the outdoors and do some outdoor entertaining and turn your outdoor bench space into an outdoor kitchen. Anyway, that is it. We've got these specialty edition ones as well. These ones are our Ollie Orange, or actually our Orange Burst is what we're calling them, actually, I should say. So they're both in the electric and also the G14 gas one. We've also got a few other accessories you might be interested in. So actually with this one here, the gas one, we can just fold the legs down and we can put a cover on. Oh, before I put the cover on, I'll also show you that the stones can lift out. So there's a little finger hole on the underside of this one where you can basically push the stone up like this so you can get the stone out, because eventually you're probably going to want to pull the stone out to do, for instance, some cleaning. One thing I will also say is with the stone, make sure that you fully dry the stone out before you crank the oven up, because if you put a wet stone into the oven, the water's going to expand, going to crack that stone to bits. So Yeah, make sure it's completely dry before you put it in, or preferably don't even wet it. Like, to be honest with you, all they really require is a little bit of a scrape with like a paint scraper, and that's it. So if they get a bit dirty and charred, that's just part of the character. Anyway, this one does come, well, it has a cover that you can buy separately. We've got two separate types of covers. We've got this one here, which is the cover carry bag. And then we've actually got a waterproof hot tape seamed cover as well, which is a little bit more expensive because you're using a better material and also hot taping all the seams. But if you're going to be taking this one away camping or something like that, it is quite handy, especially if you have to carry the pizza oven around. So this one just clips on like that, clips on like this, and there we go. That keeps the dust off at your garage and also means it's really easy. You can just carry it like a suitcase. The other thing I'll mention is the lasers. If you're getting up to the temperatures where you can cook these pizzas at like 350, 400 or even 500 degrees, a lot of thermometers don't go that hot, so you have to switch over to infrared. And this infrared one's kind of nice, gives you a double laser so you can see exactly where the focal point is and know exactly where you're actually reading the temperature from. So they're kind of a handy device if you're not wanting to that sort of confidence that you've got up to the correct heating temperature so you get consistently cooked pizzas every single time. Now let's talk about wood. You can get pizza ovens which will use things like these wood pellets or chunks of wood or little wood chips, kind of like tan bark you might see down at the park, and that's great, but in my opinion, they do add a real complexity to control the temperature. Now, when you're using wood, you will find that, you know, you're sort of stoking it up and stuff like that, and the temperature fluctuates a lot more. You often will be spending a lot more on wood than, you know, electric or gas. So from a cost perspective, it can be quite a bit more expensive. But really, putting the price aside, not much wood flavor even carries across. See, the thing is with pizza making, at those temperatures up at, you know, 350, 400, 500 degrees, they're so high in the oven, the wood tends to combust very much completely, and therefore you don't get that smoky flavor that you get, you know, when you're smoking meats. Like, I love using this type of stuff and wood chunks or charcoal chunks or even pellet smokers and stuff like that. I love using all that stuff on barbecuing and meat smoking, where the chips or the smoke or the pellets are just smoldering away and then giving that really great, you know, smoky flavor to whatever I'm cooking. It's fantastic. But with pizza ovens, they're not really like that. Secondly, not only do you not get a lot of smoke in that high temperature pizza oven, but the other thing is the pizzas are in there so quickly that not much of the smoke flavor even transfers across anyway. So even if you did happen to have a smoldering log in there at a very low temperature, which would be weird in itself, you know, at those really fast speeds you're cooking the pizzas, you know, hardly any smoke carries across. So in our opinion, the reason why we don't have a lot of smoke or coal-fired or, you know, charcoal or pellet wood-fired pizza ovens on the website is simply because we don't really recommend them. They add a lot of complexity. Those friends of mine who do have wood-fired pizza ovens, they end up, you know, being such a hassle to sort of set up and, you know, feed this thing with so much wood to get it going, that they don't end up using it as much as what somebody would, you know, using a gas or electric pizza oven. And really what I want you to see is enjoying it, getting the most out of it, getting really consistent results, and really that comes down to using gas or electric, in my opinion. So there you go. It's going to be controversial. Some of you guys will totally disagree with me down in the comments, but look, I've done blind tastings with, you know, wood-fired pizza, gas-fired pizza, and I love that smell of wood in the background. Don't get me wrong, I love having a fire pit and burning, and if you want to do that, that's fantastic. But really, when you take them away from the actual wood fire source and you taste them blind next to each other, it's very, very hard to taste any difference, you know, that it's being cooked on wood fire or not. But look, up to you, but that's the reason why we don't have heaps of wood fire options on the website. Now, currently all the models that we have which are gas are fired on propane or LPG essentially, so the cylinders like this one. As you can see, the cylinder valves have changed recently, so all of our gas appliances now will have the QCC connector, not the old pole connector. However, we will have on our website the pole to QCC adapter. If you've got an old gas cylinder and need to connect it to one of these guys, you will need to get that adapter, or maybe it's time to just upgrade your gas cylinder to the current standard. So that's something I wanted to mention. Yeah, we don't have any natural gas yet, but look, if we get the request from you guys, if you really want to see us make a natural gas Hizo pizza oven, we'll do that too and get that approved. Anyway, that's it. Hope you liked the video. Definitely subscribe now if you want to hear about any other cool stuff we're bringing out. Bottom right hand corner, hit subscribe now. And of course, join our homebrew community group where we're talking about all sorts of other homebrew gear and stuff like that. And every now and then, bring out pizza as well. All right, Thanks for that, guys, and see you guys next time. Bye. Now, Ollie's making fun of me because I actually said Neapolitana earlier on in the video, which is sort of that ice cream with 3 stripes with the strawberry, vanilla and chocolate. But it's supposed to be Neapolitan. So Neapolitan style dough we're making pizzas here, not Neapolitana. But I thought I'd just say, Ollie, go stuff yourself. I'm actually making a Neapolitana pizza. So I'm gonna basically have a triple stripe pizza here. Like that. There we go. So you can actually do a Neapolitana pizza as well, Ollie. And in she goes. Oops. Oh.